going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're not gonna be doing a marketing timeline video. This is more of a like a normal vlog. Um, so I just wanted to talk about my job that I have. I just started this for about 3 weeks now. This is going into week three, and it's a job that I've done before, like a similar job. It's a Amazon DSP, so it's like the delivery. Um, and let me backtrack real quick, just so y'all could get like a feel of where the story's going. So when I first, it's for 9:20. So when I first got this job, it was I thought it was supposed to be in Newark. Um, but literally a week into being onboarded, they let me know that they'd be moving over to the Bronx. So they said, all right, so um, if you're not going to be moving with us, we'll be able to transfer you over to a different company that's still in Newark. So I was like, okay, you guys could transfer me, but in the meantime, I'll still want to work so I can make some money. And mind you, this is after my last job of another DSP where I was fired because I wasn't able to keep up with the routes. Like the last time I um, worked at that job, I actually my knees um, were hurting so badly that I couldn't even walk anymore. And being that I'm like a relatively fit guy, so it was like I don't know how much more you expect from me, but that was the last day I worked there. And it was about 2 months after where I basically like blew through the rest of my savings. Um, and in the meantime, I was just working on my platform and whatnot and whatnot, and trying to add on to this YouTube channel. So I got this new job about 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and so they said it'd be possible to transfer me. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I for sure do want to be transferred. And I even applied at one of the other um, companies that were there, and I even finished the onboarding process and everything, but never heard back. So this job, so they went ahead with the transfer over to the Bronx. They moved to the Bronx and no longer worked in Newark. So, like I said, I still wanted to work to be able to make some income while that transfer process was still going through. So, they went ahead with the move, and I went through my first week of training. Um, they never helped me set up ADP or anything like that, so I was never on the computer time card, so I couldn't even log my hours. Um, and this entire time, most people, you already know the first check, it always comes after the first, it always comes after the second pay period. So the first week backlogs into the second week. So you'll get your first week's check in the second week. So that's what I was expecting. So then I work through my second week after training and no check. It was supposed to be that Friday. I thought I was going to be direct deposited. I was asking around. I was like, I never really set up direct deposit or anything. All I got to do was sign the um, I-9 or 1-9 form, W-9 form, whatever the form is. I signed those forms before working with them, but I never got any like direct deposit forms, anything like that to set up my ADP. I never got to do that. So at the end of week 2, I actually had bills due. I had my insurance due, which is now a week past due. I had my tickets that I actually told them, okay, I'll be paid my second week. I started this week, I'll be paid next week. So I actually had them schedule my tickets to be paid that Friday also. So I had my tickets to be paid, I had my insurance, no check. So I call up my manager and she's giving me this spiel about, oh, you were supposed to set up your ADP, but I couldn't set up my ADP. Um, for some people who don't know, usually, at least this was the process I had with the last DSP I worked with. Um, usually, you, I was supposed to be recording this. So usually with these DSPs, they have you set up an ADP, right? So the thing is that I never got to set one up with this company. So I guess they just assumed I was supposed to just have an ADP. But when it came to creating an account, I needed a company ID of some sort. So somewhere along the line, I had to get some information from them, which the dispatchers didn't know what that process was about, what they needed to do. And when it came to the general manager, she just directed me over to ADP support. So I didn't know what else to do. I couldn't even go forward with the account creation process for a new ADP account without this ID. So I was basically just given the rigmarole of, you know, adding my time card, adding my hours to my time card. And this is at the end of week 2. So I called my manager up Friday and she says that she saw my check. Um, she saw my physical check, which everyone by default, they automatically get this physical check unless they have direct deposit, where their direct deposit is just going to be sent to them and this check is going to be just mailed to them in the mail. So I call her up Friday. She tells me she's seen the check. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm expecting a check now. Um, so me thinking and mind you, this is after 2 weeks of paying gas, paying for gas, paying for the tolls to go to New York, which is 3 tolls that you need to pay every day to go to New York, and still no check, right? So this is at the end of week 2, and I'm at the end of my savings. I literally have 0 in my account right now as we speak. So there's no gas for me um, from my own pockets. I actually had to start asking around um, for money to make gas. At first, I asked well, actually, at first, and this was a desperate move, but at first, um, before I even started the job, I had to ask um, at an interview, mind you, for a different company in Kearney, New Jersey. I asked this one of the employees that was at Amazon for $5 to do gas just to make it back home. So that was the the start of it. Um, and come the first week, I asked my sister for about $20, and I was hoping to pay her back either that week or the next week, depending on when my check would come in. So after I blowed through this gas, um, I ended up having to ask a random woman at a gas station. So I'm starting to feel like a bum, doing this. Like I'm just asking around for money. But I ended up on the way home from work from the Bronx. And this is week 2. I ended up I only had I had about like 25 miles left to get home, and mind you, if anyone's familiar with New York traffic, the traffic adds about like 15 minutes on average, at least from what I've seen. So I had about 21 miles left on my gas tank. So all I had were pennies in my car. I used up all the change. So I pull a desperate move and just pull into a gas station. I try to pay with the pennies just to add a few more miles. So the 21 miles would go to at least 20, 25 or 28 or something. But they don't accept change. I try to go into the store to exchange it for quarters. They needed for me to make a purchase before they can even open the register, so it's that deal. So then I basically forced to set my pride aside, basically, and ask around for money. So I asked this one guy who's using a credit card. He says he doesn't have cash. I was like, I mean, you could still use the credit card. You could still use your card, but he was like, nah. And this lady was pulling in, dark skinned lady, and I let her know that this is my second week, that I'll be paid this week. That's what I was expecting. That I'll be paid this week. But I literally don't have any money to put gas in my car. She was like, but you work at Amazon, right? I was like, yes, I do. But I haven't gotten paid yet. I'm supposed to get paid this week, but right now I don't have anything. So she gives me, I really only wanted like $1 or $2 just to add like a few more miles in the car. But she, out of the grace of her heart, she gives me $10. So that was it. That was a blessing. That was a blessing from her. Not only did it, put a few miles in my car, but it actually um, gave me enough gas to get to work for the rest of the week. So, so I I add the gas to my car. I go home, and I think this is Wednesday. So I still have like two more days left until Friday. And come Friday, she lets me know. Come Friday, when I was expecting a direct deposit, no direct deposit, I call up my manager, who usually doesn't pick up. That's another thing. The communication in company or business is lacking heavily. So the people who you're supposed to be calling never pick up their calls, while the dispatchers could get an answer within 5 minutes of calling. So, and even the dispatchers, they told me, like, yeah, all the drivers have problems calling our manager, which it doesn't make sense. Like, we're the employees, we're the ones making y'all the money, right? So how come there's no outlet for us to voice our opinions and our concerns? We have to text you, and we have to wait and wait and wait for a response that could have taken like 30 seconds or 1 minute. Um, there would be times where when I do text, I won't get an answer back until the very next morning. Um, and it's things like those. So I call her up. She's like, okay, call me later after loadout time. I'm like, okay, I get it. So I call later. Doesn't She doesn't pick up, and she calls me out of the blue. I think it was like 30 minutes or an hour later, and I don't think I was scheduled that day, that Friday. So I had enough time to wait for a call, I guess. So she calls me about an hour or 30 minutes later, and I voiced my concerns about my check. I never got a direct deposit. She's like, "Oh, really? You're supposed to set it up through ADP." Well, that's the thing. I couldn't even sign into my ADP. Oh, really? Well, I don't know what to do about that here. And then she texts me ADP support, like they have anything to do with it. Like, it's your business, right? It's your company that you're working for, right? So why do I have to call up ADP when you're right here? You're supposed to be the manager, right? So I don't even get that resolved. I still haven't to this day gotten my ADP account. So let's fast forward to this week. This is week 3. So Friday, she let me know, I did see your check though. So the next time you come in, just pick up your check. I'm like, okay, so my check is there, right? She says, yes, my check is there. So the next time I come into work, I'm expecting to pick up my check along the way. Um, my parents aren't here. They're on vacation. So me and my brother, we basically have to fend for ourselves and make food and stuff like that. And it's to the point where I'm not even able to buy food to put in my own house. So it's like, how am I supposed to live like this without, like, especially like, I'm in this job. I'm working every day. I'm working all the days I'm working specifically so that I can make some money, so I can pay my bills and eat, right? So fast forward to week 3, this week. Um, I go into work, and at the end of the job, I don't even address it at the start of it. At the end of the job, after all my work is done, I didn't even complain. I just came in. Hey, here's the key to the fan. This is how much gas is in there. I delivered all my packages. I did my job. Um, can I have my check? They're looking for the check. They're like, there's no check here for you. There, we don't see a check. I'm like, what? That's weird. The manager said there was a check here for me. Like, literally a couple days ago, she just said there was a check here for me. So they're like, maybe she mailed it out. I'm like, all right, could you call her up? Because She's not gonna pick up if I call her. Could you call her up? They're like, dude, just try to call her. I call her, no answer. And I'm like, all right, could you call her up? They call her up, literally picks up right there. Um, and I talk to her. I'm like, so there's no check here. She says, well, I must have mailed them out all that Friday. That's weird. I mean, I could have sworn you said there was a check here for me and that I was going to be picking it up. So you mailed them out, right? So apparently you saw my check and you mailed it out. She says, yes, yes, I mailed them out that Friday, that Friday night. I mailed them out. So I'm like, okay, so apparently I have to wait a couple more days to get my check. And mind you, I still have to come into work. I still have an obligation to come into work. And I understand this. But it's getting harder to do it because I have no money to get to work. I have no gas money. I have no money to make or buy food for lunch or to eat at home, and I have no money to pay tolls. So at this point, I'm like, well, is there another way for me to get here? Because I have no gas money. I won't be able to get in. I won't be able to come into work without gas. And mind you, this is after I think Friday, which is when my insurance was due. So now I'll be driving with damn near no insurance. Which I just got the email today saying that unless I make the payment by the 20th, I'll have to, they'll be canceling my policy. So, so now it's kind of, this lack of payment thing is actually um, doing damage to my life. So, but that's besides the point. So the main concern is the gas. I don't have any money to do gas, to get gas. So she's like, okay, well, we have a van that's usually at Newark, left at Newark, so people from Jersey can make the commute over to the Bronx. I'm like, okay, I'll try to make that time, which is at 9 a.m. when we start at 11 a.m. So I agree. I'm like, okay. I take this van and I work for the next 3 days. And yesterday, so I see her at the job. She's not usually here in the mornings, but sometimes during the week she's here to help direct and coordinate the loadout processes and stuff like that. Help sign people in, stuff like that. So she's here today, or she's here yesterday, and she's like, "Hey, Sendes, funny thing about your pay." As soon as she says this, I'm like, "What? What?" And this is Tuesday, so this is a couple days after expecting my check to be coming into the mail. Remember? So she's like, I was looking over your hours and I don't see them. I'm like, what do you mean you don't see my hours? I've been being marked down every day since I've been coming here. What do you mean you don't see my hours? She's like, yeah, I've got those records, but I don't see your hours in the computer. I'm like, But I told you, like, I couldn't log into my hours. I couldn't log my hours. I don't have ADP. I don't have an ADP account. And I brought this up to you last week, and all you did was send over a support number for ADP. So what are you talking about? So she was like, well, we don't have any hours logged in for you. So you don't you don't have a check. I'm like, what are you talking about? All right? So it's like, how are you supposed to expect someone to basically be working for free for 2 weeks and there's no due diligence on your part? You're the manager. This is an employee that's coming into a company that you're literally putting it all on them to expect them to know how to get paid, to expect them to know all these things that you're supposed to already have in your system, right? You're the manager. So so it's my fault. So it's my fault. And sure, part of it probably is. Um, I was supposed to let them know I'm not able to log into ADP, which I have multiple times. Even the dispatchers, I've let them know I can't even sign in. I've even tried to use the ID I used to have for my last DSP, which was, I'm not going to say the number on here, but I even logged in with that number. It was logged into someone else. That number was registered as someone else. So now I literally know I don't have an ADP account. So I don't know what they're talking about. So the whole point of me making this video was I honestly don't know what the point of making this video was. I don't know. I just wanted to get that out. Um, I guess like when people know that you don't have a choice or option, they don't really care what you're going through or how much it takes for you to get to their job to do your job, get to their business to do your job. They don't really care. Their bills are being paid. Their bills are being paid. So there's not gonna really be a due diligence or sense of urgency on their part. So it's all on you. So I've got a few interviews scheduled. I've got one scheduled today. I had one for Monday. I took off Monday to do that interview with Infosys. It's a it's a project support role, so it's like a no code position, but just like a project support. So like if people have concerns about an application, so they would call our department and they'd be directed to me and I'd get their concerns and direct them to where they need to, like the specific department. Today I've got another interview with a pharmaceutical company in Branchburg, so I'll be going to that. This is the second time I'll be interviewing with them. First time it was for a maintenance mechanic, but also a packaging operator. Um, so this time it's just gonna be for the packaging operator because I need a new job. And then I have one more tomorrow with another Amazon DSP, and I think this one's in Edison, so it's in New Jersey at least. So hopefully those go well. Um, and I already spoke to the manager about being transferred. I was like, all right, you could just go ahead and transfer me over to so and so company in Newark, Mongo Logistics or something like that, or Mondo, and just transfer me. Um, I don't like how they're running this company or this business. Um, cause like I'm the one at the end of the day just stuck holding the bag, like the bag of packages that I still have to deliver. So it's not really putting me in a good spot. So this is week 3. Hopefully I could report back with a check on Friday. But if not, I don't know. I read that this would fall under damages for a small claims court. So this would be a week after. This would be a week past due for my payment as an employee. So this would fall under withholding your payment, withholding your payment as an employee. So I guess I'm just trying to make a record of this, just in case if this ever goes any further in court. If this needs to go any further in court, I guess it's like my record book. I don't know. But at the end of the day, just try to put your destiny in your hands. I'm still working on this platform for you to um, schedule and sell your own services and book clients and have clients book you. So that's still in the works. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope you all have a great Wednesday. Check out my last few videos on the marketing timeline where I went into Amazon and their example of standards. And again, DSPs are not Amazon, they're third party partners. So, even if I wanted to talk bad about Amazon, it's not Amazon, it's this specific business. So, I guess that's where a union would come in, but it would have to be a union for Amazon partners. So if people are really trying to do unionizing, people are still trying to unionize for DSPs, that for sure needs to be done. So things like this will never happen again, where it's putting people who are driving this company, where it's putting them at risk. So that's it for today's video. I hope you all have a great one. Bye. I don't know if y'all heard that effect. Okay, so hopefully I heard that effect. And I'm out of here.